Doom is known for its fast-paced violence, heavy metal energy, and that feeling of being an unstoppable force against hell itself. But behind all that, there's actually a surprisingly deep universe. There are gods, wars, betrayals, kingdoms that rose and fell, and in the middle of it all is one man, the Slayer. In this video, I want to walk you through the full story of Doom: The Dark Ages. It's the earliest point in the Doom timeline, a prequel that finally shows us how the Doom Slayer's legend began. To set the stage, there are three main forces at war. Hell, a realm of demons, corruption, and endless invasions. The Makyrs, divine-like beings from Urdak, who claim to bring order but have their own agenda. The Night Sentinels, elite warriors from Argent Energy, who try to keep both sides in check. The Doomslayer stands between them, a weapon created for one purpose, but destined for something far bigger. Doom: The Dark Ages shows us how he was before he became the thing hell fears. Before the sarcophagus, before Mars, before the cults. It explains how Argent Energy was discovered, how the Makyrs fell from grace, and how the war between realms spiraled into what we see in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Whether you're a longtime Doom fan or totally new to the series, this video will walk you through what matters. The rise and fall of Argent Energy, why the gods feared their own creation, and how the Doomslayer became a legend. Not by prophecy, but by breaking free. Now let's get into it. The game opens with war. The city of Callum, a vital industrial stronghold of Argent Energy, is under siege. Hell's legions have launched a direct attack, led not by a brute, but by a powerful being known as the Witch. She isn't there to simply destroy, she's looking for something. The Heart of Argent, a sacred object locked away by the Sentinels. Its value isn't explained yet, but its threat is clear. The heart they are looking for is eventually revealed to be tied to the Wraiths, ancient beings of elemental power who once gave life to Argent Energy. In Doom Eternal, Wraiths were used to generate Argent Energy, but in Dark Ages, that source is still pure, uncontrolled, and sacred. With Callum overrun, Commander Thera, a high-ranking leader in the Night Sentinels, sends out a desperate call. Not to her own king, but to the Makyrs. Bishop Creed answers. He is a Makyr, one of the divine beings from Urdak, who once allied with the Sentinels. Unlike the Khan Makyr from Doom Eternal, Creed does not posture as a holy leader. He operates more like a diplomat or handler. The Makyrs are extra-dimensional entities from the realm of Urdak. In ancient times, they formed alliances with civilizations like Argent Energy, offering divine technology and guidance in exchange for obedience. Over centuries, that partnership soured, particularly as the Makyrs' need for Argent Energy grew desperate. Creed is important because he's a pre-con Makyr, representing the era before the Urdok's full descent into corruption. But his calm, measured presence masks the same manipulative tendencies. In response to Thera's request, Creed authorizes the deployment of their most dangerous asset, the Doomslayer, a nameless warrior bound to the Makyrs through a device called the Tether. He does not speak, and he does not act unless commanded. He is released into Callum like a living weapon, and the results are immediate. He tears through the demonic forces with brutal efficiency, fast, focused, and unstoppable. This isn't the Doomslayer we know. He's operating under control, restrained rage, directed by someone else. But what makes this phase of the story feel tragic is he's powerful, but he's not free at this point in the story. With Callum secured, the Slayer is pulled back, teleported out of the city by Creed, back into containment. The tether that's attached to him isn't just a tracking device, it's a suppression field. It's a tool the Makyrs use to keep the Slayer emotionally and mentally limited. In Doom Eternal, the tether appears again as a recovery tool, but in Dark Ages, it's part of a cage. As the Slayer is returned to the Makyr vessel, another figure watches from a distance. Prince Azrek, a Hell noble. Not a general, not a demon brute, but a tactician. He observes, he calculates, he watches how the Slayer moves, and then he begins to plan. Azrek is an anomaly in Doom's demonic hierarchy. He's not powered by rage, he's powered by intent. He is to the Witch what the Khan Makyr was to the Seraphim, a partner in ideology. With Callum saved, the Night Sentinels barely have time to regroup. Word reaches King Novik. Hell has launched a coordinated strike not on a city, but on one of the most important structures in the realm, the Transdimensional Energy Relay. This relay isn't just an engine or a power station, It's the core mechanism that stabilizes the dimensional boundary between Argent Endure and Hell. This relay is likely a precursor to the dimensional stabilizers referenced in Doom Eternal, specifically the ones that the UAC used to open and control Hell portals. In the Dark Ages, it's still under Sentinel jurisdiction and far more sacred than scientific. The Sentinels respond immediately. King Novik himself takes the field, not behind a command post, but on the front lines. Novik's presence here matters. In Eternal, he's a ghost. In the Dark Ages, we see the man behind the myth, a king willing to bleed for his people. It humanizes him and shows just how high stakes really are here. The Sentinels are losing ground in this battle, and if they lose the trans-dimensional energy relay, the forces of Hell will pour in like a flood. The two of them tear through the demonic horde, toppling siege beasts, ripping corrupted constructs apart, and pushing back the tide. But it isn't enough. The relay falls. In the aftermath, the Sentinels retreat to the stronghold. Tensions rise. The demons are now pouring in, and the Heart of Argent is no longer safe. And in the shadows of the stronghold, the first whispers of treachery begin. Among those whispers stands Deaf Lorik, a Sentinel defector. It's revealed that Lorik betrayed them. He gave Azrek the location of the heart, and now the demonic prince knows exactly what he's looking for and where it's hidden. This marks a pattern in Doom that fans may recognize. Insiders who give away divine power in exchange for survival or purpose. Lorik is a precursor to betrayers like Dr. Hayden and the UAC scientists who enabled Hell's rise in Doom 2016. The Sentinels receive word Prince Azrak has discovered the location of the Heart of Argent at the holy city of Eratum. He mobilizes a full-scale attack on a suspended vault floating above the cliffs of Argent Energy, where the heart is sealed away. In response, the Doomslayer is deployed, but this time, he doesn't arrive by portal or ship. He arrives riding a dragon, one of the ancient Sentinel war beasts, bred for air deployment in desperate circumstances. The Slayer rides through smoke and fire, landing directly in the middle of the atrium as it comes under siege. Inside the vault, Prince Azrak breaches the defenses and makes his way towards the Heart's chamber. The Slayer moves to intercept, but the Witch blocks his path with a spell, holding him back just long enough for Azrak to enter the inner sanctum. There, standing guard over the Heart, is King Novik. Novik has anticipated this breach. He has already rigged the atrium secure with explosive charges. Rather than let Azrak get the heart, he gives the order. The charges are detonated and the atrium collapses. The structure falls, the Doomslayer is teleported out. Prince Azrak is protected by a demonic shield and survives the collapse. King Novik also survives, escaping with the Heart of Argent safely in hand. Novik's decision here isn't just strategic. In Sentinel war codes, it is better to destroy a sacred site than allow it to fall into enemy hands. Back at the Sentinel stronghold, Novik makes a critical decision. He will not give the Heart of Argent to the Slayer for safekeeping. He no longer trusts the Slayer fully, not because of his actions, but because of the Makyrs' influence over him. This distrust foreshadows the events of Doom Eternal, where the Slayer is treated with suspicion by both the UAC and Sentinel remnants due to his unique power source and independence from divine command structures. But the Heart is now hidden once more, and the real battle has only just begun. Following the collapse of the atrium and the recovery of the Heart of Argent, King Novik decides to keep the artifact hidden. The Slayer remains under control of the Tether, the neural restraint system developed by the Bishop Creed and the Makyrs. This device doesn't merely track the Slayer, it filters his thoughts, suppresses emotion, and fuels him with hatred only for demons. It ensures obedience. But something has changed. In his confinement chamber, aboard the Makyr vessel, the Slayer begins to resist. The Tether is a holdover from Erdak's era of dominance, used to repurpose other beings to controllable weapons. The Slayer's increasing resistance mirrors the legends mentioned in Doom Eternal, that quote-unquote, no system could contain him forever. The Makyrs increase the Tether's energy output to override his rebellion, and it works temporarily, but it doesn't last. Every time they deploy the Slayer, his resistance grows. Meanwhile, Hell prepares a massive counterattack. A force larger than any before marches on the Sentinel stronghold, this time with Prince Azrak leading the assault. Creed and the Makyrs see the scale of the invasion and panic. They prepare to deploy the Slayer once again, even though his stability is at risk. Before they can deploy him, the Tether finally breaks, and inside his containment cell, the Slayer tears free. Not fully, but enough to begin physically dismantling his cell. The Makyrs attempt to reduce the Tether's power output, fearing it may explode. This is the most important character moment in the game so far, because the Slayer doesn't break free because someone sets him loose. He does it because he refuses to stay chained. This is the beginning of his transition from a controlled weapon to an autonomous myth of destruction. But the timing couldn't be worse. As the Slayer's containment system destabilizes, the demon army arrives at the gates of the stronghold. The Sentinels are already fighting a losing battle. Barracks are overrun. Riftborn abominations surge through breach points. The stronghold falls, and Prince Azarek turns the tides on King Novik. The Doomslayer is trying to get to King Novik, but the witch holds him at bay and blasts him off the platform. Taking this chance, the prince steals the Heart of Argent from King Novik's chest, but inside the pendant, there was nothing, which enraged the prince. Before the prince could kill Novik, the Doomslayer shows up in mech armor, and the prince retreats. After the Slayer breaks free of the Makyr control system, Commander Thera decides to bring him to the Ancestral Forge, a sealed facility built into a mountainside, long dormant and accessible only through Sentinel override codes. Inside, they begin a ritual to empower the Slayer's shield, using Wraith-enhanced equipment and Sentinel forging techniques. The forge activates, Thera inserts the shield into the platform and begins feeding energy into the structure. The Slayer stands by and watches. As the ritual continues, the Forge produces a powerful surge of Wraith energy. The ritual is complete, and the Slayer's shield is now infused with a new power, making him more resistant to the tether's pull. While this occurs, Bishop Creed is watching remotely from the Makyr ship. He sees that Thera is trying to break his control on the tether, and so he contacts Prince Azrak to let the demons know exactly what's going on. Creed betrays the Sentinels here. There's no ambiguity here. Creed's betrayal is calculated. He's not curious, he's not complicit. This is where he crosses the point of no return, not as a passive observer, but now as a willing agent of hell. When the demons see this, Prince Azrak and the witch are watching what's happening in this ancient forge. They see Thera infuse his shield with a strange power. The witch recognizes this. She realizes what's actually happening. The Heart of Argent isn't contained in the small necklace that they've been searching for. The necklace is only a piece, a container. The real Heart of Argent is Thera herself. The demons realize this first and change their plans. Their target is now Thera. Inside the ancient forge, the Doomslayer uses a portal to enter Hell and bring the fight to the demons. He fights his way all the way through Hell, but Prince Azrak and the witch are already gone. They're missing, they're not there. All he sees is a projection of Prince Azrak, telling the Doomslayer that their fight will come later on. Back in the mortal realm, a massive demonic force breaches the cliffside at the Sentinel base where Commander Thera is. There is a massive portal in the sky with huge tentacles breaching from the portal. This is not like a demon, this is something different, something we've never seen before. The Doomslayer comes out of Hell and he's able to fend off the massive tentacles spawning from the sky. But at the very end of the demonic assault, one of the tentacles grabs hold of the tower where Thera and Bishop Creed are stationed. Before anyone can react, the entire tower is ripped through the rift and disappears from Argent Denur. The Doomslayer has no idea where this could have taken Thera, but the Sentinels have an idea. It has taken Thera to another realm entirely, and there's only one way to get there. The Doomslayer must unchain an old god. The old god is the only one who can open the portal that leads to this realm where Thera has been taken. And the Doomslayer does just that. After the Doomslayer enters this realm on the back of the old god himself, he navigates through the drowned ruins. Inside this realm, everything is submerged. The world feels like the bottom of an ocean. The temples are massive here. Their walls covered in symbols. This is the witch's domain. The Slayer finds Thera suspended in this domain, glowing and trapped and in a trance-like state. As the Slayer reaches to her, a blue tentacle of energy lashes out and touches him. He's immediately paralyzed by this tentacle. Hovering behind Thera is a blue ancient god, likely one of the Wraiths. It radiates the same energy as the symbol in the forge. The Wraiths are revealed here to be descendants of this realm. Thera, who unknowingly harbored the last Wraith soul, is now fully activated. Her power resonates stronger here than anywhere else. The realm recognizes her. She is no longer a vessel, she is the heart realized. While the Slayer remains paralyzed, Prince Azrak arrives, confident, transformed, and now fully aware of Thera's true identity. He walks towards her. Standing behind the Slayer is Creed. He is also there. The betrayal is complete. Creed is now no longer a diplomat or an observer. He's an ally to the enemy, and he has betrayed the Slayer completely. Using the first half of the Heart of Argent, they transfer the Wraith from Thera into Azrak. The light fades from Thera's body. Azrak absorbs the power. He does not roar, he ascends. now wielding the essence of a god. The witch, Azrak, and Creed stand over the Slayer, but they don't kill him. Azrak says death is only temporary. Imprisonment is much more permanent. They leave. Bishop Creed then appears before the Sentinels in the mortal world. He tells them that the Slayer has failed, and to prove it, Prince Azrak appears through a portal in front of the Sentinels and throws the Slayer's bloodied helmet to the ground at their feet. The message is clear. Their weapon is gone, and their protector is defeated. This is the lowest point in the war. The Slayer is trapped in a cell held aloft by 3 ancient old gods, suspended above a lake of acid. He tries to move, but nothing works. The prison was designed not by the Makyrs or demons, but gods older than both, and there's only one action to take. He reaches up and grabs the tether that binds him, and rips it out of his chest. The explosion is immediate. The overload causes a power surge that shatters the old god's containment magic and destroys the cell. The Slayer drops into the acid below, and dies. I like to note that death in Doom is never permanent. The moment the Slayer dies, he enters a liminal state, one tied to his soul, his legend, and the mythic title carved into every codex. In death, he sees the mark of the Doomslayer, and hears the voice of King Novik. They are brutal and without mercy, but you will be worse. Rip and tear until it's done. The Doomslayer awakens on a pile of corpses. The camera pans up, and you see his undead face. He is no longer mortal. We can assume this is the underworld. He is dead, and his soul went to the underworld. He is now undead. He begins to climb through the underworld, a plane filled with undead warriors, ruined weapons, and drifting ghosts of the past. This is something deeper, possibly the same realm referenced in the Codex of the Martyrs. It's where failed legends go. But the Slayer doesn't stay failed for long. He rips and tears his way through this cursed plane, where he commandeers a massive warship. This looks like a reference to the river Styx. He commands this warship and busts through a gate that looks like a gate to the mortal realm. The Slayer wakes up in an almost limbo-like world. His guiding light, the mark of the Slayer. When he finally reaches the mark of the Slayer, the scene cuts and we see what's happening in the mortal realm. The Sentinels gather at Darkvale Forest. They light pyres and draw sacred circles. They place the Doomslayer's helmet in the center of the ritual. The very helmet returned to them by Azrak as a symbol of defeat. And then the ritual ignites. They are trying to bring back the Doomslayer, and they're using their own blood as a dark ritual to bring him back from the dead. The Doomslayer rises. The fellow Sentinels have done it. The ritual has worked. The Doomslayer is alive. No longer controlled by the tether. This is the true Doomslayer we know. The man who fought his way back from death. And he has work to do. And his first task? Kill Bishop Creed. The ritual that resurrects the Slayer mirrors similar rites described in Sentinel scripture, where artifacts imbued with Wraith essence are used to, quote-unquote, call the souls back. The helmet returned by Azrak as a mockery becomes a tool for vengeance. Creed begs over comms, calling to Azrak, but no answer. The Slayer finds him alone and panicked. And this is where the fight ensues. The Slayer takes his time with Bishop Creed. It's a two-phase fight, and you really get to dismantle Bishop Creed in the most brutal way possible. Now, as Creed lay on the ground crawling away, he tries to reason with the Slayer. He tries to explain that Thera is still alive, being kept aboard Azrak's ship. If she dies, her power, the Wraith within her, dies with her, and Azrak will lose his power. He tells the Doomslayer that he can take us to where Thera is being kept, but that doesn't matter. We weren't here to negotiate anyway. The Slayer kills Creed and gives him what he deserves. Little side note, with Creed's death, the Makyr hierarchy loses its last foothold on Argent Energy. Creed, unlike the Khan Makyr, doesn't die in battle, he dies begging, a sign of the Makyr's moral decay. After that, the scene shifts. We see Prince Azrak launching his final assault. Empowered by the Wraith he stole from Thera, he leads a full-scale invasion on the Sentinel capital. Rift portals open above the stronghold, demons pouring through in waves, entire battalions of corrupted monsters descend. But the Doomslayer returns, not alone, but with vengeance. The Slayer and Novik climb into their mechs. Together, they go to war. Azrak, now infused with Wraith power, conjures the Old One to fight for him, the same one we released from his imprisonment. The battle is devastating, but eventually, the Slayer defeats the Old One, leaving only Azrak left. Azrak and the Slayer face off. In the first round of fighting, Azrak gains the upper hand. He's faster, stronger, and overflowing with stolen wrath energy. He throws the Slayer across the battlefield. Before Azrak can land a killing blow, The Slayer's Dragon Mount intervenes and slams into Azrak, buying some time for the Slayer to recover. But this is not enough. Azrak stabs the dragon through the throat. This is the moment that marks the end for the Slayer's last living connection to Sentinel kind. His dragon, his mount, his partner, dies not for battle, but for loyalty. The Slayer rises. Furious, round 2 begins, and this time, he wins. The Doomslayer tears the Heart of Argent from Azrak's chest, ripping the Wraith's soul back into Thera across space and spirit. Azrak, wounded and broken, is teleported away by the witch. Thera is safe. Novik retrieves the heart's containment vessel and restores full energy to Thera. There's only 3 things left to do. Kill Prince Azrak, kill the witch, and end the war. With the Wraith energy restored to her, Thera uses her power to open a portal to Hell. Not a standard Wraith, a Wraith-born gateway crafted from her reawakened soul. This is where the Heart of Argent aligns with lore from Doom Eternal. The Wraiths are said to be interdimensional conduits. Thera, as the Heart, becomes the key to breaching Hell's innermost sanctum. The Sentinels follow. It's a full-on assault. The Doomslayer takes the lead, descending into Hell through the portal. Once in Hell, he fights through burning landscapes and demon battalions, and he makes his way towards the Citadel at the middle. Azrak and the witch await at their lair at the peak of it. When the Doomslayer reaches the top, they are standing together, are Prince Azrak and the witch. The battle begins. It is long, brutal, and cinematic, but the Slayer is relentless. He kills the witch first, and then finally, he kills Prince Azrak, this time once and for all. And to prove it, he beheads Prince Azrak. With the witch and Prince Azrak finally dead, the war is over. The final confrontation inside the Hell Citadel ends with the Doomslayer doing what he does best, slaying a pair of diabolical beings after a long, brutal battle. The last scene of the battle ends with the Doomslayer standing at the cliffs of Hell. He throws Azrak's severed head into the depths below where the demons see it. They flee. The war ends there. Not with a treaty, but with a message of dominance. Back in Argent Energy in the mortal realm, King Novik survives. He reclaims his throne. The Makyrs, through emissaries, claim that the treason of Bishop Creed was his alone, not sanctioned by Urdok, but it doesn't matter. The Sentinels cut ties with the Makyrs. They will never again be subordinates to a divine power. From now on, they will rely only on themselves. This sets up the political state of Doom Eternal, where the Sentinels are fragmented, skeptical of divine intervention, and divided from Urdok. This is where the break begins. As for Thera, she lives. Following the battle, Novik returns the Heart of Argent contained vessel to her, and Thera steps up as a commanding force for the Sentinels in the futures to come. And what of the Doomslayer? He does not stay. We see the Doomslayer board a Maker ship once used by Creed, now commandeered by him alone. He sets coordinates for an unknown location. The last shot of the game shows him teleporting away, heading once again into a war only he understands. This mirrors the transition into Doom 2016, where the Slayer is recovered by the UAC from an unknown tomb. It's left deliberately ambiguous. Where he goes, how long he fights, we don't know, but we know the pattern. The Slayer never rests, he just hunts. And ladies and gentlemen, this was Doom, the Dark Ages. If you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. This was Toad Knight. I hope you guys enjoyed. This game was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun doing all the research and how everything kind of tied in with one another. If you like videos like this, let me know, and I'll continue to make more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.